Good to have you here. I think all of us recognize the potential of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and as with any trade agreement, there are pluses and there are minuses. My concern would be that there is as much attention at USTR focused on minimizing the harm from such an agreement as maximizing the many potential good benefits of the agreement. My understanding from prior testimony we had from your office is that you envision having the same standard applied to New Zealand and us and Vietnam. Is that correct? Do you expect there'll be separate provisions so that some countries are dealt with differently than others?
Congressman, without knowing specifically, and it's always good to see my mother's congressman.
That's right.
She'll send you her regards, and I'm glad it sounds like we finally got a map in Texas.
Right.
You know, our ambition, at least among the 9 countries that initially decided to go down this road together, was let's not wait on what's going to happen in Doha or APEC. Let's try and develop a new trade model for the 21st century with the highest standards, knowing every country is going to have some challenge, but at least let's start with the proposition we want a high standard agreement that everybody's got to play to, and that this would not be the place to try to draw those distinctions between developed economies or maybe least developed or emerging economies, that if you sat at the TPP table, which we gave Vietnam 24 months to make that decision, for example, then we would say, you take all the time you need to come here, but here's the price of admission. We're going to ask you to aim high and reach high, and at least that is the method by which we have progressed to this point, Congressman, and we still want to adhere to it. We want to have a high standard agreement to which all of the parties are sort of on the same level, and the decision as to whether you want to meet those standards is up to the individual countries. But from our perspective, we want this to be applied across the board.
Do you anticipate then asking Vietnam to meet International Labor Organization standards, core principles?
Yes, we do.
And given its history of a lack of protection for workers, how do you see them getting there?
Look, this is going to be a big lift for them, but to their credit, you know, I would say this. There were no surprises. We were very honest. We were going to table, you know, a labor agreement that incorporates core American values. Vietnam has a further road to travel, but at least every step of the way they've said, we understand that, and we're going to aspire to that. Now, our team just came back from Vietnam. We were encouraged. They have, for the first time, sort of welcomed the ILO to come in and help them design some of their structures. They've got a lot to do. I don't want to underscore the fact this is, you know, for Vietnam, a much heavier lift than others. We're doing everything we can to provide them technical assistance. There are some areas they're going to say, you know, they're going to do that we're new, we're young, but, you know, that's inherent in any trade agreement.
Are there also transshipment issues with Vietnam, Malaysia, some of the other countries involved, and has transshipment of Chinese goods picked up in Korea since that agreement has been ratified?
It has not in Korea. We were very, because of you all's concerns, particularly about North Korea, as you know, we were very careful to craft an agreement. And I would say it was, you know, Korea and the U.S. were interested in drafting an agreement that would help businesses in Korea and the U.S., not in China. That issue has come up, particularly on the textile chapter, frankly, because there are some American businesses who don't want any restrictions on their ability to take goods from China and ship them through. We think this should be for the benefit of Vietnam. And we also want to protect a textile industry that perhaps more than any other industry feels like they've not been as well represented in our trade agreement. So we're trying to get the proper balance with our yarn forward provisions and others that will protect the interest of our textile industry that's doing okay, but gives the incentive to Japanese suppliers and not those being transshipped.
And what about the concerns that this committee and you have dealt with on many occasions concerning currency manipulation in Asia? Would you expect that this partnership would address the currency manipulation problem?
Well, we're going to have an opportunity, as the chairman said, I think, to talk extensively about that and others. We know that's an issue for you, but our partners understand our concerns. Typically, that's an issue that's been difficult to define in the context of a trade agreement. But the core for us, we want an agreement that gives American exporters, farmers, entrepreneurs access to what's going to be the fastest growing region in the world, but gives us a level playing field and the opportunity to create jobs here.
All right,
Thank
thank you.